Welcome to Ask the Animators with Tim Ingersoll, legendary Tim Ingersoll, and I'm Brian Curl. Tim is a veteran animator. He's worked on a lot of feature films. I am a current graduate of animation school, and we wanted to put a podcast together that would allow people who are interested in animation or animators to ask questions and get two different viewpoints, the old and the new. So, Tim, you want to tell them about your background a little bit?
Yeah, it'll take a little while, but I've been around the block, Ryan. I've been fortunate enough to be an animator for 37 plus years now. I started my career at Filmation Studios, which is like a TV. They did Fat Albert and He-Man and a lot of fun stuff. And then they made some Disney-type animated films, like movies. And anyway, I branched into the feature department, and from there they laid everybody off for a little while. Anyway, I wanted to be at Disney. It took me three attempts. Third time's a charm, as they said. So never give up. That's the key to this, because I almost did, and thank God I stuck to my guns, and Disney finally hired me. And I was there for many years, worked at Little Mermaid, Roger Rabbit, Beauty and the Beast a little bit. And then I got lucky enough to, Jeffrey Katzenberg started his own company, DreamWorks, as you guys probably heard. Yeah. So I was there for almost 20 plus years. And, you know, I was amongst some of the best animators in the world. So I felt privileged to really go under their wings and learn as much as I could. And then the transition happened. I was working on all these 2D movies, Prince of Egypt, El Dorado, just tons of them. And until they decided to go transition into 3D, and they paid for us. They let us do it. They gave us a skill set and the knowledge to learn the new technology. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did. So now I started animating on Shark Tale, I think was my first one.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Will Smith.
Will Smith, yeah. And then how many other ones? I don't know. But quite a few other 3D movies. And then I went back to 2D. I went back to Disney for a short stint to work on Enchanted.
Oh, okay.
Which was like a hybrid 3D, live action, 2D. And then I went back to become an animator back at DreamWorks again to work on How to Train Your Dragon. And I just had and then I've been teaching. Brian was one of my students at Animation Mentor, and we became good friends. But
I was a hard teacher, too.
I crack that whip every day. So, yeah, I'm a good...
He's a good teacher.
No.
Very good teacher. Yeah, that's one thing about animation. If you're taking classes right now, or you're looking at taking classes, just understand and put it in your mindset that it's when you get a critique from a teacher, it's not about how terrible you are. They're just trying to show you what you need to do to get better. And you know, our mindset is, oh my God, you know, when I'm in school, I might fail. And with animation, when you're learning something like this, it's not about failing, it's about learning. So don't look at yourself as a failure when you do something wrong. Look at it as a learning opportunity that you can learn how to do it the right way. And it takes a while to get that mindset, because we're so ingrained in, oh, I don't want to fail, I don't want to fail. I took several of my classes over again. Not so much because I had to, but because even Tim, I took his class twice because we didn't feel I was where I needed to be when I finished the first one. It's not about failing, it's about being where you need to be to go on and move on to that next class or to work in the industry.
Some of my better students didn't get it quite at first, you know, and I think because of that challenge, they wanted it more at a deeper level. But once it clicks, that's the thing. Once you get it and you understand the graph editor, because you're really learning almost three things at once. You're learning the complex software, Maya. You're learning an art form and storytelling, and then principles of animation. So it's a triple whammy, but it can be done if you bite-sized chunks. You know, you can't learn it all overnight, but it is digestible and it's learnable if you put the time and effort, like Ryan has. And you know, it's not rocket science. It's just how badly do you want this? And anybody can do it. I've seen it happen too many times to say, some people are unteachable. That's not true. You want it, you can have it.
And then I'll give you a little background on me. I've been in the entertainment business since 2001. I started my own record label, country music record label, dealing with country music and country Christian music, and promoting artists, releasing singles and albums to radio back when radio was big, and now, through all the digital platforms like Spotify and iTunes and all those kind of things. And I've got to work with some amazing people over the years, and I learned a lot about promoting in the music industry. Got to work with Jeff Cook from the group Alabama, which is the largest selling country group in history. He was on my label as an independent. Got to work with William Shatner. Actually produced an album for him and Jeff they were on together, and I produced it and also released it on our label, Heartland Records Nashville. And so I've got to work with a lot of people over the years, Neil McCoy, Home Free, and several other pretty well-known artists in the country music industry, and then a lot of independents that I work with. And we're still doing some releases right now. We've got some things going on. I'm also a songwriter with ASCAP and BMI. But I got into animation. I was always interested in animation. I always was an artist when I was young, drawing on all my homework like most artists do. And so I really wanted to learn animation, and I thought I could teach myself. I started going to all the YouTube channels, and there's a lot out there, and it's good information. But to start out with, you really need that focused person to help you step by step to learn how to start and how to get into that mode of actually having a class and a structure, because when I first pulled up animation, I mean, there was some programs out there that would let you do mocap, and you could drop mocap in and things like that. And those are all great. You can do some neat things with them, but it's not like frame-by-frame animation. And so I found out really quick that it was going to be harder than I could teach myself. And so I applied for, and I'll give them a plug, Animation Mentor is the school that I went to. It's the one that Tim teaches at, and it's a wonderful school. They got a great community. I guess they call it the campus. Everybody wants to help everybody. You can ask your fellow classmates to give you critiques. And so I got into Animation Mentor and took all my classes, and I met Tim. He was actually my first instructor. Mm-hmm. And we became good friends, and we're working on some projects together, including this podcast. And what we're going to do on this podcast is we've got a email address, which is going to be up on the screen for you at the bottom. And you can send us emails and ask questions, Ask the Animators, about animation or about the industry, anything you'd like. And then every week we're going to pull some of those emails and we'll answer those on our podcast. And then there'll be a section of our podcast where we will also talk about current industry trends. Like, everybody's talking about AI. We'll talk about, what's going on with different studios and those kind of things in the industry, what's going on and what we see. And we'll talk about things that, that challenges that I have as a new animator, because on top of being a new animator, I'm an old animator, okay? Because I'm not a 20-year-old that started out in animation. I was 58 years old when I started taking animation courses, and that's, people go, well, isn't that kind of old to be starting something new? But you're never too old. So, and Tim's got a lot of backstories, things that happen to him at a lot of the studios that are a lot of fun to listen to, and give you an inner perspective of what it's like to work in a studio setting, because nowadays you've got people who work in the studios, and you've got, remote workers, and you've got people who are just doing their own thing at home too. So, but
actually, it's funny you said starting a little later in life. One of my really good friends, he lives in Portugal. He's actually going to come out and visit, and you're probably going to meet him. Yeah. My friend Jim, he started Disney as an animator 40. He was 40 years old.
Oh, wow.
So it's never too late. Look at the 9 Old Men. they're called 9 old men because they were old men, still working well into their 70s, maybe even 80s, Frank and Ollie.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's that experience. A fun fact about Brian, you ever heard of this term, it's on my first rodeo? Like, this guy was a rodeo star. But that all brings you to be a better animator, all of this knowledge. So if you think you're too old, you're not. And sometimes knowing things like being a rodeo, you know, and these things are things you bring to the table that can make you a unique animator, that other people just don't have that life wisdom. And this experience can really shape
I guess you're right. Choices. Yeah, because if you know, like me, I was raised on a ranch, and I was around animals. I know more about how animals move just because I was around them when I was growing up than somebody who wasn't around animals. And so they would have to go to the zoo and really watch and see how their structure is and how they walk and how they sit and those kind of things. So anything in your past, I mean, they say that, you know, animators need to be watchers. We need to always be watching. You know, because you'll see everybody walks differently, so you'll get these different walks that you can animate, or different gestures that people have. Everybody is different, and so, you know, even Frank and Ollie and the old 9 old men would talk about, you know, that they would see somebody dancing and they'd say, oh, well, that's who I want for the Queen of Hearts and Alice in Wonderland. That's the type of person I want to animate. So yeah, you've got to be aware of your surroundings and other people and animals and all those things, and that helps you in the long run. So yeah, if you got experience and you're old like we are, you know, it gives us a little more experience. But as far as experience animating, this guy's top notch. So
thank you. Yeah, I've been lucky though. I mean, you got to work hard. This is not, you know, you don't get this overnight, but you can. And I feel blessed. And to teach this now, I mean, I've taught in India for 6 weeks, China a couple of times. DreamWorks sent me to all kinds of places. And I've been super fortunate to work with some of the best people. But you learn from that. You know, you grow and you learn, and you're like, I don't have all the answers. But at the time that I think I kind of had a hiccup in life, it was when I felt I knew all the answers. It was like, you can't teach me anymore. And that's just not a good mindset. You want that growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. So, like Brian said, it's all about observation, about we're watchers. And to have that in your back of your brain, I'm watching squirrels jump around, or I still like your dog. I've watched a couple times when he's like, you know, like, I don't think he has fleas or something. It's funny just to watch. He's got a cute dog, Titan. But yeah, you become very observant and curious. I think that's what kind of makes you a good animator, like having that, like, how can I make this entertaining? Every shot should feel like your last shot, and you should really put that love and care into it. And those are the people that succeed, because they're thinking a little bit like, how can I really make this entertaining before you just start jumping right into it? You taking that extra beat, planning, considering, and then, you know, kind of brainstorming with others, collaboration. That's
and maybe push those poses to where they're more comical. Or
like, you helped me on some of my my 2D stuff. You used to make comments, or when I was doing the Fanny.
Oh yeah, Franny.
And then, you know, Brian asked me every once in a while to help him out. But I mean, I think you don't live in a bubble. You need other people to, to brainstorm with, to kind of make your animation more believable, more physics based, but entertaining. In the end, you want to entertain. We're storytellers. That's what we are.
And, you know, I think about Jeff Foxworthy, the comedian. You know, he talks about that most of his jokes come from his observation of his family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the way we are. That's where we're going to get our gags. You know, if you've got an uncle that he snorts all the time when he laughs, well, that you may put that into your animation because it's going to be something that is familiar to you, and you know it because you've seen it over and over again at Christmas every year. That, you know, or he's drunk, or you know he's stumbling around. So I mean, everything that we do, it's amazing when you get into animation because you start thinking about these things. You don't ever think about them when you're not doing something like this, you know. And Tim, he's not only an animator, he's also a caricature caricaturist.
Magician?
A magician, yes. And last time he came and saw me, we went out to eat, and before it was over, we had a crowd of people at the table watching him set his wallet on fire. So he's a showman. He's a showman. So, but yeah, this podcast, we're doing it so we can answer some questions if we can. If we don't know the answer, maybe we won't use your question on air. But if we can, we'll return an email and answer any questions you've got. We're also going to do some giveaways once a month. We're going to, from all our viewers, we'll pull a lucky winner, and one of the winners will win an item. Some of the things we'll give away is, here's a 3D animation desk pencil holder. And then we've got an animator's wheel or disc that's a clock, okay, hang on the wall. Tim's got some animation cells that he is willing to sign, and we'll send those out. If you want to enter for the free pieces, what we'd like you to do is go ahead and drop an email to us. And just say entry and maybe the day of the week that you send it, and do one entry per month, and then we'll draw once a month, and we'll send a gift out to you. We'll probably come up with some other things too besides this, but right now this is where we're at.
And if you're a 2D fan of hand-drawn animation, this is exact. I mean, I look at this and the memories are flooding back. I like where I place my papers and all my planning, and it's the what's it called,
your disc.
Yeah, but it's cool. A little pencil holder. I mean, if you're a fan, this is a hell of a nice gift itself. But yeah, it's funny that I'm looking at it more and more. I'm like, my God, this is exact. But we had at Disney, and almost all the studios had similar discs, DreamWorks, but.
And I think everybody who's involved in animation, who loves animation, even if they're into 3D, there's something about having the nostalgia of it coming from 2D to begin with, that most animators, even if they don't do 2D, would like something like that. So, but we will come up with some other things. And like I said, he's got some animation cells that he'll sign, and we'll send those out. And we just want to have a good time, answer any questions that you might send our way, give you some information every week on what's going on in the industry. Maybe you're a new animator, or maybe you're in school and you're looking at getting out. We wouldn't even mind setting up almost like a family around this, to where companies want to join in and they want to let us know when they have jobs available. Maybe we could announce that on the podcast. And people who are going to be looking for jobs when they get through with school, or are currently looking, because the animation business industry is kind of wonky right now. It's with AI coming in, we're looking at doing a couple of things ourselves. Tim and I are working on launching a streaming TV channel that will be focused on family-friendly animation. But we're going to be looking for content for the TV station, and it's not a YouTube channel, it's not a podcast. It will be a streaming TV channel like Netflix and Disney Plus, and we're getting a lot of good feedback from industry people that have been in the industry for years, been animators and been producers and directors, and they feel like that's what the industry needs right now too, because this is going to be a streaming channel that will actually partner with our animators and our independent studios, or even major studios if they want. And you're going to earn money on a profit sharing basis, instead of it going out and making millions of dollars, and you as an animator or creator, whether you be a rigger or a lighter or whoever you are working on it, you're going to get a percentage of the sales instead of just getting an hourly pay. And and then all the big wigs making all the big money if it sells $100 million in ticket sales at the movies. So we've got a platform set up that we feel like is really unique, and it's a win-win situation for everybody involved. And we're hoping to get it launched off soon, and we're going to talk more about it on each podcast, because we want animators that are out there that have have completed shorts or features, any of those kind of things, we want them to understand that this is a legitimate company. We're going to need content, and so if you as an animator or a producer or director or writer have projects that are in the works or you've got done, we would love to see it and see if we could work something out where we can launch it on our station when we get up and going. So, and it's going to be called
Fan TV.
Fan TV, and that stands for Family Animation Network.
We have a mascot.
Yes, we do. We do. We have a mascot that Tim designed. Her name is Franny, and she is a monkey.
Yeah.
But she's amazing.
She is amazing.
She's amazing, and
she's very funny.
She might even do some animated appearances on the show at some point. But you remember the old Hee-Haw show where they would have the donkey come in on the screen. Maybe we should do that on the podcast.
That would be great. I like that. Just pop it up periodically. Yeah. What's Franny doing?
Yeah. So,
but I think, get back to Brian's point on, the content-driven artists out there, like, this is the prime time. This is the time to do something like this.
Yeah.
Because the industry is a little wanky right now. I mean, I think, like Disney's going to start 2D up again, supposedly.
Yes,
There's all these great things in the works, and quite frankly, Zootopia just made $1 billion, everybody. That's great news for you and me and Brian, because, it's just success. And they're going to keep making them because they're making so much money, and that's at the end of the day. But the point is, for Brian and I, with the station, the streaming channel, there's so much opportunity for the creators, for the people. If you're making your own movie, or even you've got a small team making, there's 10 people making this a small budget film.
Or even if you're making shorts.
Shorts.
Yeah.
And this is the platform. This is the time to showcase it, and make a little money for yourself, and maybe good money, but to really just show what you've done, not just on YouTube and a little screen on your phone. We're talking about look at your big picture at your big screen TV at home that's families can really enjoy, and get your stuff seen. I mean, my friend Andreas just released Mushka, and I worked on that as a hand drawn. Like I'm literally looking at.
Tell who Andreas is, because.
Oh, I can't say names.
Oh, you can't say names?
I don't know. Can I?
Yeah, you can say names. I'm saying. Tell them who Andreas is.
Oh, Andreas Deja. They got the 9 old men. He's like the 10th old man. Or maybe Glenn Keane. So Glenn Keane and Andreas are. And some of you guys might know.
They were trained by the 9 old men.
Yeah.
They were like the next generation.
The next generation. They learned a lot. Like Tim Burton was there too, kind of, but he kind of, went on his own.
Yeah.
But Disney still has Andreas do all like the ribbon cutting, and they bring him in. I don't think Glenn's that
They're both legends.
They're both legends. Both. And I got to work with these legends, really, in Little Mermaid. I was actually going to work on Glenn's basketball film. I was in India, DreamWorks sent me, so I couldn't work on Glenn's film, unfortunately. But I was asked, which is nice. But getting back to the key element here of I think, what's going to make Fan TV so special is just that. It's you guys. It's the creators that not overlooked so much, but kind of like. If you're doing something and you put your heart and soul into it, why not get some credit? Whether it's money or just your name up in lights for people who could say, "Hey, look at this," and then you can create more, obviously.
Right.
So that's just bankrolling your own goodwill and your own hard work, so people can see it and go further. Then you just keep to the next step.
And we have a structure that I think is going to be unique because. We've kind of got to focus on the future too, because we've got a company that actually will put feature films out to up to like 7 theaters, and it would be pre-sale tickets. And what we would do is we would do pre-sale ads on the TV station for a movie. If somebody came to us with a full feature, and we thought it doesn't need to go on the channel right away, let's put it out in the theaters, make it maybe qualify for a Oscar or whatever. We can work with this company and we can do pre-sale advertisements on the TV channel, and if we hit those pre-sale numbers, then they will put it in 7 theaters, which makes it qualify for an Oscar nomination. And so there's things that we're going to do with the channel that nobody else is doing. We're going to offer, we also want to have some background footage. If you're working on a project right now, or you've worked on a project, and you have background footage of it being developed, you know, that's something we want to do too, because one of the things that we want to do with the channel too is promote the animation business, whether you're, no matter what part of the industry you're in, but promote the animation business to where young people can see that this is something they can do. When I was in high school and middle school, I never even thought about animation as a job career, as a career, because I didn't know that was something you could do. I just saw that people did it, and it was on my TV.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, if I would have known that that was something I could have gotten into, I probably would have gotten into it when I graduated from high school or before.
Sure.
But kids who aren't involved in it, they don't know the business, they don't know that it's something they can do. And so by putting that on our streaming channel and having it to where younger people can watch and see what it's like, hopefully we can help build a whole new generation of animators that can go out and produce these wonderful fairy tales. And when we say animation, you know, if you've got a live action movie that has animation in it, let's say it's Roger Rabbit type deal, or even like Iron Man had animation.
Sure,
it has VFX stuff that's animated. Then if it's got it throughout the movie, then that would qualify for our TV channel too. And we want to have it good for children, but we also want it to be entertaining for adults. And we feel like that's kind of, a lot of the channels have kind of gone away from that, you know, a lot of the channels, as a dad myself, my kids aren't young now, but my grandkids are. And, you know, it would be hard to set down a kid in front of the TV and just walk off from them and let them watch something, because you don't know what it's going to show. And it might be something that you don't want them to see. So you almost have to pre-watch what you watch, you know, and we want to be a place where adults can go and watch something that's still entertaining, not being political, not being religious, not being, you know, over the top about things. I mean, you're going to have some of that no matter what you do. We just want a good entertainment for our viewers, whether you be an adult or whether you be a child. And just, because most, in my opinion, when I go to watch a show, an animated show or even a movie, it's my escape from reality. I know what reality's like. I live it every day. I want to go into that movie or into that show, and I want to go away for an hour, hour and a half. I want to live in a fantasy world of whatever I'm watching on TV. And, you know, if I want reality, I'll go outside and go uptown. So that's kind of what we're trying to do is bring back that part of entertainment that we feel like is missing that used to be there. You know, when Walt started his Walt Disney Company, you know, it was all about entertainment. And that's where we feel like we need to be back to. And hopefully this channel will do that. And on top of it, it will be something for the animators, the creators, producers, directors, whoever's in charge of a production, that they can feel like they're getting a fair deal, they're making some money, and their project is getting seen and is getting recognized, and the people who work on it are being recognized. We've talked about at the end of every year, we want to have a full-blown awards show, and it will feature the makers and creators of the animated movies that are on our TV station. And we don't want to do something small. We want to get a nice place, maybe in Orlando, and we'll even televise it on our TV station. So that'll be fun. It'll be a lot of work, but it'll be fun.
Well, and I do believe it's an easy, not a cop-out, but people say this is built for animators, by animators.
Right.
You know, and it seems like an easy statement, but this truly is. This, you know, that statement can be thrown around, and it seems like it's diluted. The message is not meaningful anymore. But this is truly a channel for animators, by animators,
right,
that celebrate the hard work you guys put into your. Like, I do all these pickleball animations. I've probably done 13 of them now. I get a lot of nice likes and all this stuff, but in the end of the day, I want to see it on the big screen, or I want to see at least get some notoriety, whether I make a ton of money or a little bit of money. that's not the point, in my opinion. You would like to be monetized, but it's more just being recognized. Like, you build a skill set up, you make a great story,
right.
Whether it's a short or a long or a full feature even, and it just had to just sit in and nobody gets to see that.
Or you throw it up on YouTube and you're not making
anything. And then how many people see it? You got to pay for promotion kind of to get people's eyes on it, and this would be a different avenue completely. Like, that's what differentiates everybody else from us, I think. Because otherwise you could put it on Apple TV or YouTube or whatever. But that's not the point. We're trying to make it more just special. It's like, and like Brian said, to have an award show, are you kidding me? That would be the best. I mean, talk about celebrating our craft and our our hard work.
And how neat would it be to have some of the viewers be able to win a trip to the award show to present the awards to the people who have entertained them.
Sure.
So there's a lot of different things that we've got in the works that we think will make our channel very unique to everybody, not only the animators, creators, but also to the viewers. Mm-hmm. Also, educate people, educate kids, and entertain people at the same time. And we feel like that can be done because you all as creators or people who are interested in creating, you're the ones that control that. I mean, they say the media controls things. Well, so does the entertainment industry, because when you put something out, you're either entertaining somebody or you're teaching somebody.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another aspect of this, the teaching route, which no other channel that I've ever seen has an educational component, and that's going to change things too, because you're being entertained, but like Ryan said, you're either educating or entertaining, hopefully one of the, maybe both at the same time. But that's where we stand apart too. We're different from, Hulu, Disney Plus. We offer that, and that's huge as a.
And maybe you're interested in animation, and you don't want to go out and spend the money to start school because you don't know if it's really what you want to do. Well, we might have a few videos on there that are done by somebody like Tim, or maybe we'll work with some of the schools to where we can use some of their training videos to kind of give somebody a taste and say, okay, this is how you start out using Maya, or this is part of class 1. This is how you do a bouncing ball. And then once you see how that's done, maybe you'll feel more like whether it's something that you want to do. Because it's a big investment.
Sure.
It's a big investment to go to school. It's not only investment in money, but it's investment in time. Literally, I used to spend most of my days working on my lessons. And it's not because I had to, it's because I wanted to do the best I could. And as an artist, we all know that we never get the best that we think we can do. We're always like, okay, that's good enough. No, I see something wrong. So you spend hours and hours and hours. So it's a big investment in time and money. And so, if we can give new animators, new riggers, lighters, we'll bring other people in. Hopefully we'll be able to do some interviews with some other people in the industry on this podcast. Bring in people from the industry that are working in the studios now and things like that can talk more about what's going on behind the scenes. So we feel like it's going to be a great podcast. We hope everybody joins in. We're going to try to put it up probably every Tuesday, but it'll be on our YouTube channel, and it'll also be not visually, but you'll be able to hear it on all the platforms that send out podcasts like Spotify and those radio streaming channels. So
I love it.
All right. So, and don't forget, we'll be giving away gifts.
Yes.
And so right now our website, if you want to go to our website, is www.familyanimatio.net, and our email address will be at the bottom of the screen, and you can send your questions there, and we will try to answer what we can next week, and we look forward to seeing all of you. And we'll try to do some live podcasts before long too.
That'd be fun.
So,
my buddy Jimmy's here. Fold that in.
Yeah, we should do some interactive questions with our viewers. Yeah, so. But
happy animating, everybody.
Happy animating.